Welcome everybody to Spurs 9501 vlog. We've got Brian from the Toronto Spurs Supporters Club with us today. I've reached out to lots of supporters clubs around the world, and Brian's a die-hard Spurs fan now living in Toronto. We're going to talk a little bit about Spurs, but first of all, I'm going to get Brian to introduce himself and also tell us a little bit about the Toronto Sports Club. So Brian, over to you.
Thank you very much for welcoming me to the channel, Ray. First of all, Happy New Year. A happy and healthy New Year to all you listeners and yourself and all your viewers. So a little bit about myself. I'm a 41-and-a-half-year-old man who is Tottenham Hotspur fanatical. I started supporting my first memory of supporting Spurs is when I was about 6 or 7. I said to my dad, listen, I'm at the age now, what football team should I support? And my dad said to me, listen, son, your mum was born in Bruce Grove, Tottenham. Her whole family support Tottenham. She could hear the Tottenham roar when they lived in Bruce Grove. I am from Gants Hill. My whole family support Tottenham. You, my son, can support any team you like as long as it's not Arsenal. So I followed the family tradition, became a die-hard Spurs fan. I was a season ticket holder for 10 years, from where the season after we signed Jurgen Klinsmann to 2004. So I've lived through some very, very dark days and some very, very good days. And I moved to Toronto 3 years ago. My wife is from Canada. So we lived in England for a bit and she wanted to go back home. So I was like, okay, you move to England. Let's move to Canada. Best decision I ever made. And the first thing I said is, okay, I need to find out where Toronto Spurs are. And they're in a pub that was across the road from where I got married in Canada. It's a great pub called the Scotland Yard. I'm now on the board there. I'm the admin for Facebook. I help out with a lot of things. We've got about 200-300 members now.
Oh, wow.
And we do a lot for the community as well. I can't believe how big the support is here. And I think a lot that helped it was obviously when we signed Stalteri.
Yeah, Paul Stalteri.
Obviously, that got a lot of Canadians looking at Tottenham Hotspur. And now I'm here, and Canada is just the greatest place.
Okay, so Brian, in terms of the fan base and all that, are they mainly expats like yourself, or are there lots of Canadians there as well?
Do you know what? It's actually a really good mix. I'd like to say I was actually blown away, not only by how big football is actually over here. Obviously, in America and North America, it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I was amazed at just how big it is here in Canada. And the thing that amazes me here in Canada and amazes me so much is we get ripped off by Sky and BT and everyone back home, because over here I get to watch every single Premier League game. No matter what, if they kick off at the same time, I have the option of which game I want to watch.
Right.
And I pay $10 a month, which is about £7.
That's amazing, that is. We pay $10 a match here.
Exactly. So I think what's been happening is, obviously, it's become so easy to view over here that the sport has just boomed. And there's a lot, and I do mean a lot of Canadians that support Spurs. And now, obviously, please God, COVID willing, by 2026, the World Cup is back up and running, because it's going to be here in Canada.
Wow, that's amazing. But other than Paul Stalteri, have we had any Canadian players?
I don't believe so. We've had Americans, obviously, like Casey Keller, Dempsey.
Exactly.
But as far for Canadians, I think he's been the only one. And after scoring that goal against West Ham, he'll go down in folklore.
He's a folk hero. He's a folk hero, he is now.
He's actually the chairman of Toronto Spurs.
Is he really?
Well, I say the chairman. Matt Frank is the chairman, but he's within the club. And also, when we opened Toronto Spurs, because we had to break Spurs Canada down because of the time difference.
Of course,
size of the country.
We
actually got, and he's our president, is Steve Nash, the basketballer.
I've heard of Steve Nash. Yeah, amazing.
He came to our pub.
Oh, beautiful. So do you all congregate around match time in the pub to watch the match together?
When we could, yes. I mean, the first day we did it as Toronto Spurs was the Champions League final, and we packed 400 fans in.
Amazing.
We get, especially, I mean, it amazes me, like even at winter time, like I remember my first North London derby here was February the 10th, 2018. It was minus 15 or 16 degrees, feeling like minus 20 or something. Kickoff was 7 a.m. our time, and there was over 100 people in the pub that got up at that time of morning. So yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
So the fan base is growing, and you're helping to grow the fan base there.
Big time.
Brilliant, brilliant. Excellent. That's great news. So tell me a little bit, what do you think about how this team is doing at the moment? Tell us what you think about Mourinho's style of play and the way he's taking things forward.
Okay, so I'll go into my whole thing with Mourinho. When we signed him, the first thing I said is we're dancing with the devil. I cannot believe that we went and got him, especially seeing that we weren't going to give Poch any money. And then you sign a manager who only demands money, money, money. I thought the whole thing was a bit of a sham. Couldn't stand it. And then I watched the documentary, which was very well done. And in that documentary, you got to see Mourinho the man, not just the guy on the touchline. You got to see behind the scenes. And he won me over. I thought, do you know what? I've got a bit more respect for this guy. And then the football we started playing at the beginning of the season was phenomenal. The 6-1 against United, the 5-2 against Southampton. Even the football in the draws against West Ham and Newcastle were fantastic. We just couldn't finish them off. But the last month and a half has been dreadful.
Yeah, I was telling people, I saw the match against Wolves. I'm actually a diehard Spurs fan as well. And it was I just couldn't watch it, I couldn't bear to watch it. It was horrible TV. So, but the thing I say to you is that Mourinho, you said you don't know why we signed him, and I'm dubious as well. But the fact is, he's a born winner. He's won 20-odd trophies, and he's got a model that works. But I always say to people, he always had his team. He had his specific team of players. I don't think the team of players he has now can execute the model he wants. What do you think about that? They can't play the way he wants.
I think you're bang on the money. I'll tell you a story about the Wolves game. The Wolves game, we started off on fire, and I thought, okay, here we go. We're actually really controlling this game. I fell asleep in the 37th minute. I woke up to Jose Mourinho's interview, and I saw 1-1 in the bottom of the corner. I was like, oh, here we go. And then I heard we hadn't had a shot in the second half, and I was going mad. And you look at it, his way does work, but now it's getting to the point we have such attacking flair, but they're told to defend. You've got to let them off the leash. When our attack is better than our defence, and our defence has got a lot better, people have worked out, stop Son, stop Kane, stop Spurs. When you look at his time at Chelsea, he had Carvalho, Drogba, Essien, Makaleli, Lampard, Drogba, Robben, Duff.
Terry.
I'm talking world-class players, every single one of them.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do it yet.
Exactly. When you haven't got those players, you can't have this team. And he's got to say, I don't know how many times we go 1-0 up or 2, and we sit back and it's like, well, that didn't work, but we're going to try it again. Okay, that didn't work, we'll try it again. There's got to come a time where you say, right, this isn't working. We need to change.
I agree with you. He players, he's got Winks, Sissoko, Davies. He ain't going to be doing that type of stuff with these types of players.
Exactly.
Now, but he only knows one way to play, and when it works well. But I don't think it can work with this team. But anyway, it is what it is. I don't think he's going to be sacked in a hurry. He's paying 15 million a year to him or whatever. I don't know what he's
exactly.
But the one I wanted to come back up to a point you raised earlier about Poch didn't get the money. I was wondering maybe, and I'll see what you think. Daniel Levy didn't actually trust Poch to buy decent players. He bought a few duds, but he trusted Mourinho. That's why he gave him the money. What do you think about that?
So I've got a lot to say on this. Poch, God bless that man. I love that man to bits. I wish him nothing but success. That guy not only took us to heights beyond our wildest dreams, and Levy's, let's get that right, he united the club. I've never, during my time as a Spurs fan, never seen the fans, the players, the management, everyone so together. So together. Now, this guy got us to a Champions League final, got us to FA Cup semi-finals, got us to a League Cup final, and he did this all on no money. Now, the reason, I'll give you a perfect example. We didn't sign Dybala because he wouldn't pay the image rights.
Who wouldn't pay the image rights?
Levy wouldn't pay the image rights.
That's what I heard. I heard the rumour, yeah.
So we went for him to begin with, and these image rights became a big thing. So it dropped, and then at the end, we went for him again, knowing that we wouldn't pay. So he wouldn't pay 14 million to get a world-class player in for the image rights. Yet, a couple of months later, he's sacking Poch, paying him 15 million that would have got Dybala, and also putting Jose Mourinho on a ludicrously high salary. So the money was there, and the players, he wanted Wanyama. He wanted Wanyama a year before. Didn't get him. We got Benjamin goddamn Stambouli. He wanted another defender. We got Fazio.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that deserved. And if Levy had turned around and said, "Listen, I'm going to back you, but if this flops, you're the one in for this."
But let me put the other side of that though. Didn't he buy some flops though?
Oh no, he did.
Pochettino did buy some flops, didn't he?
He did. There's no getting wrong. Every manager buys flops. There's no.
What about
manager
Roberto Soldado?
What? Well, Soldado wasn't Pochettino.
Okay, so maybe that was AVB, but I mean there are some that he bought. I can't remember them at the moment, but he bought some flops.
There was definitely some flops he had. I mean, Wanyama, who I thought that season.
Oh, it was amazing. Wanyama and Dembele, the best central midfield we've ever had, I think.
Without a doubt. I mean, Wanyama, I'd wanted him for years. I had wanted him for years and years and years. And it's just a shame with his injuries because that man
he's a great player.
Was a beast. And if we'd signed him a couple of seasons before, we would have got very good use out of him.
Yeah.
The great thing is, though, Wanyama's here in Canada. He's with Montreal Impact. Yes, he did sign some duds, but Levy only got a chance to work with, Poch with a certain budget.
Yeah.
If he had the budget to get these big players, who I'm not saying it would have worked or it may not have worked, but I think what Poch did on such a small budget in that amount of time, he deserved the right to have a go.
Yeah. Okay, but let me ask you, and I'm not anti-Poch at all. I love that man. And Mourinho actually said, if it wasn't for what Poch did, I wouldn't actually be at Tottenham now. So don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying to you is, would a lot of these high-name players, would they actually come to Tottenham if Poch was the manager? Now, I feel a lot of them come because of Mourinho. What do you say to that?
So with that, yeah, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. Yeah. Now, at the time, a lot of people wanted to come to Poch because he was bringing youth in, because he was playing exciting football, and because they'd get a chance rather than go to a Man City United. Poch would always. Whereas, like you said, Mourinho, doesn't matter what kind of football you play, if you hear that Jose Mourinho wants you to play, as a player, you're going to Jose Mourinho.
It raises your profile, doesn't it, in the whole world game if you're playing for Mourinho?
That it does. There's no doubting that it does. But you look at it now, and it's very, very good when we were winning those games and we weren't conceding, and it's all very, very good. But the Leicester game was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my 40 years of life.
But to be fair to him and Leicester, it was an appalling mistake by Aurier, which he can do. And it was an unlucky on goal. Unlucky on goal. But you're right, it wasn't a great game. I totally agree with you.
It was. You're at home and you need to attack. I mean, after the Liverpool defeat.
That was unlucky. If Bergwijn had put his chances away, we would have won that.
Of course. But I'm saying with that defeat and then the Crystal Palace result, the one before.
That was a Lloris mistake. What can you do about that?
But you're at home, your final game before Christmas at home. Yeah. You got a chance to go second again. And the way this league is, like we're sixth or whatever. This was a time to go and put a performance on against a big rival and get a bit of a gap. And we flopped.
But Brian, you said you don't like the way that Mourinho plays. But let me just put this to you. If Steven Bergwijn puts those chances away, we probably beat Liverpool playing the way we played. We just didn't have clinical finishing like they did. So how can it be right one week and wrong the other week?
So the Liverpool game, what I admired with the Liverpool game is the first half we were abysmal.
Yeah. But we took 1-1. We went in 1-1, yeah?
Exactly. But the second half, we looked like, okay, we're coming out to play. It wasn't sit back. It was like, let's go attack them.
But we did sit back a lot, though, didn't we? We only had like 24% possession.
We did. But in the second half, you could see there was more attacking intent. Against Crystal Palace, and from what I've heard against Wolves, because like I said, I fell asleep, it was just, we scored a goal, let's just sit back. Let's just sit back. And then once they scored in the 80th minute, we start attacking again. It's like you can't.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
You can't just keep thinking 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. You can't do it.
No. Now, Brian, I think the other thing I would like to, my view is that other teams that play a low block against us, maybe like Leicester went low block against us, we couldn't find a way through. We struggle. But teams like Liverpool, who natural instinct is to attack and get goals, they maybe leave gaps at the back that we can exploit. So, if somebody plays the way we play, we're really going to struggle, I think.
Exactly. But you've also got to look at it. The last two games, West Brom and Newcastle have played Liverpool, and they've managed to do it.
Yeah.
West Brom really, they were a lot more defensive than us, but they tried and they took their chances. And it's got to the point now, we signed Vinicius. Now, Vinicius, to me, he's played in Europa League and has looked like a very, very decent little player.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not getting any time in the Premier League.
Exactly. Kane, it was there to give Kane a rest and not to play every single game and risk injury, and he's nowhere to be seen.
The problem, I think Vinicius and Moura have got COVID. That's the rumor going around here. But the thing is, if you don't play these guys, Brian, you can't then, when Harry Kane, God forbid, gets injured, you can't bring him in and expect him to start scoring goals. He hasn't had any time on the pitch.
Bang on the money. Exactly that. I mean, Vinicius in the Europa League has looked like a very good act. Like, finally, after the Janssens and the Llorentes and whatever, he actually looks like a striker.
Yeah.
Who can also play across the three across the front, that could do a job. And it's like, you're not giving him a chance in the Premier League, even if you chuck him on with Kane, so Kane's there to support him.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You've got to give them a chance.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, man, listen, that's been really good. Before we close off the call, and we're going to have hopefully lots more chats with you, but I wanted to ask you, in the transfer window, if I gave you the choice of 3 players that you can actually sell, which 3 would you get rid of?
Oh, that's a good one. I thought you were going to go the other way there.
No. Okay. I will go to that one later, but I want to go to who you're going to sell.
Okay. Oh, that's a real tough one. Well, let's put it this way. Jedson Fernandez, I think, is going back to Benfica anyway.
That doesn't count because it's a loan. I want people contracted here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now, a lot of people are saying Davinson Sanchez, but I don't want him to go. I believe there's a player in there. I
don't think we'll ever find it, but I agree with you.
I really like, when he first came, I think he has the potential to be something. Not brilliant, but he has something. Oh, this is such a hard question.
Let me tell you my 3. Let me tell you my 3, then you can think about yours, right? So basically, what I would sell, firstly, Davinson Sanchez. I know you don't want to sell him, but he's got too much of a mistake in him. He's not a Mourinho type player. He's got to go. If Mourinho's not going to play, and we might as well get somebody in that Mourinho's going to play. So Sanchez, I'd get rid of. Harry Winks, I think I would get rid of. I know he's a homegrown player, one of our own, but he's not an elite player. I know he's in the England team, but that's a low bar. I'd get rid of Harry Winks. And last one you're not going to like, but the reason I'm saying is Dele Alli, because Dele Alli under Mourinho is never going to thrive, because Dele Alli is a flair player making runs into the box, etc. He's not going to do the defending that Mourinho wants to succeed in the Mourinho team. So Dele Alli, Davinson Sanchez, and Harry Winks.
Okay, so Dele Alli, let's put it this way: if Poch does get the PSG job, it's goodbye Dele.
That's what we all do. That's
still delivered. And do you know what? Dele Alli has deserved some of the criticism. Some. Like how Ndombele has responded to everything, but not every player responds to the same.
Yeah.
The thing you've got to do with a player is you've got to get to know their family. What makes them happy? What makes them sad? What gives them motivation? And Mourinho is he's done what he does with Pogba, or every player. There's one player at every club. And unfortunately, it's Dele. I still think there's a player there, but I think he is. Do I want him to go? No, because if we can get the Dele back and add it to everything, it's brilliant. But do I think he will go? Yes. So let's have him as one. The second I would sell is Lucas Moura.
Oh, Lucas Moura, okay, fine.
Because I love that man to bits, and Ajax, he'll go down forever in history. Yeah. But he is so in and out of form. His final ball sometimes is ridiculous. His decision-making is sometimes woeful, but his work rate is phenomenal. I can't knock him on that. But we can't sit down and say, yeah, but he did this and he was all good in 2 years ago in Ajax. No. He needs, if I had the chance to get rid of him, I would.
Well, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
So there's Dele, there's Lucas. See, Harry Winks, I always want the homegrown players to do well. I always want them to do well. And I think there's we throughout his career, he's been a defensive midfielder, a midfielder, a right. We need to find a position for him and say, this is your position. This is where you're going to stay. Like we did with Dyer. Dyer, you're now a centre-back. We're reaping the rewards. But I can't see anything.
I thought Winks' position with Højbjerg, the 4-2-3-1, the two would be Winks and Højbjerg, but he can't hold it down.
Højbjerg to me is the signing of the entire window.
100% agree. 100% agree with you on that one. But I think Winks again is not up to the level. If you want an elite team that's going to, challenge for the Premier League, I'm not sure Winks is your guy.
No, I mean, you've got to think as well, the way, and I've been watching him closely, Oliver Skip is doing wonders.
Exactly, yeah. So Skip is a ready-made replacement there, isn't he?
Exactly. Or ready-made replacement, or to play in the two with him.
It's Højbjerg and one other, really, I think, in that.
Exactly. Højbjerg is, but this is the thing I've been saying on a lot of, like on Spurs TV and other people I have the conversation. For my honest opinion, our biggest thing to do in January is find someone on loan as backup for Højbjerg. Because if he gets injured or suspended, although in Southampton, this guy's like the bionic man, he does not get injured. If he gets injured, we're screwed.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. You need two people for every position, really.
Exactly.
So you'd keep Serge Aurier, would you?
Oh, that man. That man. Do you know what? I actually think Doherty's the better right back. But again, it's like we signed him as an attacking wing back, but we don't play wing backs.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like,
it's crazy.
It's like signing. We could sign Lionel Messi, but if we carry on playing defensive football, what good is it going to be having Lionel Messi?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. Sorry, Aurier has been the most improved player in the team, but he is always capable of doing what he did against Leicester. Always.
Yeah, but I thought he'd got over that, but it's a stupid thing. But then again, if you've got Sanchez, who's always got a mistake in him, Eric Dyer, who's definitely got a mistake in him, and you've got Aurier that's got a mistake. You've got three of your back four that have got a mistake in them. How the hell can you win anything?
Jaffet, Tanganga.
Exactly. So Tanganga at right back, I would play. Get rid of Aurier, but I've only had three, so I have to keep him. But I think you make a really good point. We bought Matt Doherty, who's used to playing as a wing back in a 5, and now he's playing in the back 4, and he's not sure. So he hasn't had a great season either.
No, and he literally, we signed him the day after he went on tour with Ireland or for international. Then he came back and it was the first day of the season. Then he had COVID. He's just not had. This is the bit I don't get with Mourinho and Tottenham. It's like you signed the second most creative right wing back in the country over the last 2 years, second only to Trent Alexander-Arnold. So you're buying that player knowing this guy can add a lot to my right-hand side. He gets forward, he can create, he scores. And then you say, by the way, love what you did there. You're going to play in a back 4. You don't go forward. You don't create. It's like, why are we doing it?
Yeah, but let me say, against Wolves, we played a back 5. So why didn't you do anything against Wolves?
But this is the thing, like you said as well, with the whole Vinicius thing we were saying, you can't just not have a player in the team and then say, right, today we're playing a black 5, go out and give me 10 out of 10.
Fair point. I think so, yeah. You can't do that. It's not fair on you.
It doesn't work. You've got to learn to run walk before you can run.
Sure. Okay, before we finish, Brian, I'll give you a couple. You can buy 2 players, within reasonable. Don't go for Messi and Ronaldo because we ain't going to get them. Who would you buy in the transfer window?
So, the first one, I've said this for about a season now. Now, this one is way out of left field. Everyone's
okay,
like,
who's that? Can't wait to hear who it is.
John Joe Shelby.
John Joe Shelby.
And the reason I say John Joe Shelby, A, he's British. So it brings our homegrown or whatever nonsense down.
Yeah.
That guy puts in a tackle. But not only that guy, his passing is incredible. And I mean,
I have to give you, it's a good pass, yeah.
Phenomenal. So if you're playing this low block and then you're counter-attacking and you need a ball and you need it with pinpoint accuracy, this man can do it.
So you would buy John Joe Shelby over James Ward-Prowse?
So this is the other player. This guy, so I've been saying John Joe Shelby for a long time, but the development in James Ward-Prowse over this season has been outstanding.
Yeah, great player, I think.
So if I could choose a position, it would be between those two.
Yeah.
But I've been saying John, like I said to you, that is totally out of the box.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Sure.
I even say to myself, "Brian, what the hell are you thinking?"
Sure.
But then when you work it out, the English player, his passing, his attitude, he will go in for a tackle. He's not one of these guys that will duck out. I think he's a viable option. Not the option, but a viable, like you said, without going crazy. And also, you've got to remember, this is Daniel Levy's budget.
Yeah, okay. So we got John Joe Shelby. Who's the next guy you're going to buy?
Oh, God. So, I mean, the one I really want, I really want is Jack Grealish. When we should have got him when we could have, but the money to get him out is forget it.
I said be reasonable. We're not going to get Grealish. It's going to be 80 million.
The other one I said for ages is Divock Origi from Liverpool.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's going to be any better than Vinicius.
Well, this is the thing. You got Vinicius now, but before we got him and everything, you look at it. He's been a player at Liverpool that has sat on the bench the entire time.
Yeah.
That guy does not slate the club. Does not say there's no bad mouth in the club or anything. And when he does come on, like when they beat us in the Champions League final, like when there was an injury and he was playing instead of Salah against Barcelona, that guy scores goals.
Yeah, he does score goals. I've got to give you that. And one name I'm surprised I didn't hear from you is Marcel Sabitzer from RB Leipzig.
So,
Box-to-box player.
I can tell you now, I mean, one of the guys that I listen to religiously, and this guy, I believe, more than Sky Sports News, he's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, is Alistair Gold.
Yep.
Alistair Gold is the greatest Spurs reporter that ever has been and ever will be.
Right, yep. I know Alistair. Well, I've read his stuff, yeah.
Every week he does a YouTube video.
Yep.
And when you talk about buying Sabitzer, it's all agent talk. It's not going to happen because you've got to look at it. At the moment, we have too many Europeans.
Right.
So you need to get players off the books. And even if we got Gazaniga or Jensen Fernandez out the club, they're not even in the Europa League squad.
Yeah.
So you need to get another player out that's a foreigner.
Aurier.
But then also what you've got to remember, in January, it's not that easy. It's not like Championship Manager where it's like, oh, it's so much hassle to get it in. Now, Sabitzer would be, to me...
Forget about all the problems of getting him in the European. Is he a good player to have on our books?
1 billion%. 1 billion%. I mean, the one we missed out on years ago, and I still don't believe we didn't get him, was Yuri Tillemans. When we could have had him in Leicester.
It's again money. We missed out on Sadio Mane as well. Apparently, he came to the training ground, had a look around, and Levy wouldn't pay his wages. How many are you going to say?
The thing is with Tillemans, he was on loan, and then they got him for whatever million.
40 million, yeah.
But you would have thought with the Belgian contingency we had, Alderweireld, the Tongan, Dembele, and he has gone on to be a monster.
Yeah. Would you have? Before we finish, would you have Christian Eriksen back?
I would rather go to Asda and buy a packet of tortellini and play it in midfield than have him back. So for the last 8, don't get me wrong, I loved him.
He was a great player for us.
When we first signed him, excuse me, he was outstanding. For the last 18 months, he was pathetic. And
because he wanted to move, Brian. It happens to a lot of people.
So no, but it does happen to a lot of people. So I actually nicknamed him Where's Waldo? Or Where's Wally, as they say back home, because you couldn't find him in the big games. He went missing. Now, certain games when you're like Christian Eriksen, this game is made for you. Put your authority on it. Show your class. He was nowhere.
I think he turned off there, Brian. And also, I'll never forget that goal he scored against Chelsea when first time we won at the Bridge for 30 years or whatever. I'll never forget that goal he scored. Don't
get me wrong. He gave us some wonderful memories. And if you told me we were getting a Christian Eriksen back that we signed, in a heartbeat, I'd say get him in the squad right now. Yeah. But even his corners and his free kicks, which was his greatest asset, the last 18 months couldn't beat the front man.
Could never beat the first man. I totally agree.
My 11-month-old niece can take a better corner than Christian Eriksen, and it's not happened in Milan. He thought he was the big I am and going to Madrid and whatever. It didn't work out. And no, like I said, I'd rather a packet of tortellini in midfield than Christian Eriksen.
All right, mate. Listen, it's been absolutely unbelievably great talking to you. Really good to hear your views.
It's been a pleasure, sir. I look forward to doing it.
We're going to have you on a lot of our post-match analysis if you're available.
Or whenever you need.
Yeah, excellent. So I just want you to say some last final words before I stop this. So what's your final message to all the Spurs 9501 fans? What are you going to say to them all?
I am going to say to them all, first of all, I wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. May it be filled with only love, laughter, health, happiness, and silverware. And listen, it can't be worse than 2020. Everyone enjoy the ride that is Tottenham Hotspur. Doing things the hard way since 1882, and I look forward to seeing you all in the new year.
Come on, you Spurs.
And of course, come on, you Spurs.